guys, I'm ready for some summer 2023 reading list book notes. I am. Alright, so this is the 5th book overall that I have read all the way through. And the second, book 2 of 5 on my new edition. So it's The Cat Who Saw Red by Lilian Jackson Braun, the April 1986 Jove edition. So that's, what, over 30 years ago, over 35 years ago. And so it's older than I am. I was born in the early to mid 1990s, so yeah. And this is, I first read this book approximately 20 years ago, and I was approximately 10 years old. So, and these are kind of my Lucky Wallaby Courier notes. So thinking instead of like a review of a book, these are, I read the book, break it down by whatever I read each day, and then write notes as I go. So these are my as I go reading notes and the reading schedule I executed for this book. So at first, day 1, Sunday, 30 July 2023, I started the book and I read through page 10, so 10 pages, and my notes were, first read this book approximately 20 years ago. I am currently 30 years old. Main character Jim Quillerin is described as 6 feet 2 inches tall. This is not information. This is the second The Cat Who book. On my list of 2 of 5, and they didn't describe his height exactly last time. So it's like that's useful for like thinking about the character and their interactions. Okay. Day 2 was Monday, 31 July 2023. I read pages 11 through 91, which was 81 pages, so here are my notes. Page 11, main character Jim Quillerin is described as 46 years of age. So that's a note. And next note, on page 9, Coco typed the uppercase letter T on a typewriter. On page 30, when talking to another person, Quillerin describes Coco as learning to use the typewriter and says, one of these days, so quote, one of these days I think he'll learn to type, end quote. And my note is, I am not sure if this was an intentional lie by the character to the persons he was talking to, or if the T did not count as typing, or if the author Lilian Jackson Braun forgot about the T typed. Also, why was it the male cat and not a female cat learning to use the typewriter first? Is the author a woman hater type woman? Okay, there's a lot of male kind of stuff like that in this book, and this was one where I was like, well, there's a male and a female cat. Why couldn't it have been the female cat? You know? Especially since the author is female. Does she just hate women? There are women like that. All right, up next note. Page 40, Quillerin exchanges, quote, you were my first, end quote, with a woman named Joy, presumably in regards to having sex. On page 25, he uses words coy and alloy in rhyme with her name. And alloy is a metal mixture. Also, did South Africa-born Elon Reeve Musk and England-born Tallulah Riley fashion their relationship based on their book, this book, including her/Joy subsequently getting engaged, thus married to a different man who is tall and gangly with, quote, washed out red hair and freckles, end quote, same as the character in this book, quote from page 58, after Musk/Quillerin taking her virginity. I don't know what the press does these days. I think, is Elon Musk the guy who has the Elvis impersonator problem, and that's like even hit like the factory level for him? That would suck if that's true, and it would suck if I just told my family I was dating a man who was actually single and eligible and interested. Well, would that suck? I would be embarrassed. So I don't actually know what the relationship status of the real Elon Reeve Musk, South African born man is, because he might just have an Elvis impersonator problem, which would really, if that's true and it hit like factory level, that's just depressing that the employees acknowledge impersonators rather than the real person. And if that's true, that like a lot of the relationships in the press and stuff are Elon Musk impersonators, then I'll say, was Elon Musk the person who tried to abduct me from a club in South Africa when I was living there in the first half of 2012? I will link to that video. I pressed on the person's eyeballs to let me go. That was like the scariest moment of my life. Yeah, for reals. And Yeah, I brought that up on this channel and published in the first half of 2021. So I'll link to that video. It was about talking about the adaptations and self-defense my mom taught me when I was living in the town of a serial killer, Gary Ridgway, in this area, and he was targeting women like me, young white women, kind of thing. So yeah, there's that. But if he was, then I will make a note that he's more handsome than the Elon Musk impersonators published in the press. Okay. So that's about my understanding of that situation. Yeah. Okay, next note for this. Page 42, his, quote, his meager balance, end quote. Local newspaper, the Seattle Times, used the word meager in a front page headline today, Monday 31 July 2023, for the print edition of the paper, which we get at this house I live with my parents. Perhaps they read this book recently. Clearly not at the same time or following / after me, but perhaps before me. Yeah, so that was like, I was reading the book and I was like, hey, meager is a word that the paper doesn't use very often. Maybe they just read this book and they were like, oh my gosh, meager, I haven't used that word in a while. I gotta put it in a headline. Because that's kind of how the Seattle Times writes the headlines. Okay, so that was day 2. Day 3, I guess in Elon Musk, if you do want me and you're single and that kind of stuff, and you think you are my soulmate or you are my soulmate, I got 2 Narnia children. Okay, I got baggage. Okay, and I got a lot of men. Okay, day 3, Tuesday, 1 August 2023, pages 92 through 114, so 23 pages. I know it was page 97. Joy was 19 years old when she lost her virginity to main character Quillerin. Worth noting, as the first letter Coco typed on the typewriter, T, can be equated to tau in the Greek alphabet, where it is the 19th letter of the Greek alphabet. Perhaps the cat typing was foreshadowing this information, which is very clever, right? As someone who's lived on Greek Row and in the Greek system now, I can go, wow, yeah, we learned the Greek alphabet, right? But like encrypted foreshadowing, it's a little bit different. Okay, up next, day 4, Thursday, 3 August 2023, pages 115 through 141. That was 27 pages. My note is page 124. But where could he pin? So quote. But where could he pin the blame? End quote. And I just think, really, somebody. The author blames every other character in the book, and this is like. That's not how reality works, you know, with good people. Like, it shows a little bit of a potentially character flaw on the part of the author, and it comes through and kind of sours the story or dampens the stories a bit. For me, not for everybody. Okay, up next, day 5, Friday, 4 August 2023, pages 142 through 159, 18 pages. My note is page 142. The author mentions the main character walking his cat in a blue harness. I do not know if this was such a fad at the time of the writing of the book that is why it was included. I was born in the early to mid 1990s and do not know about cat walking culture of the 1980s. Not to be confused with like women who call themselves cat and walk down a catwalk for fashion. This is like legitimate like pet cat walking on a leash or with a harness, you know, that kind of thing. Okay. I don't know. I wasn't alive, and that's not something I have researched for the 1980s. Okay, up next, day 6, Saturday, 5 August 2023, pages 160 through 175, which is 16 pages. Page 165, 2 brothers are described as wealth and name, not smokers, not drinkers, individuals who wore baffled expressions in reaction to art. The bronze, not the brains behind a business. On the next page, 166, the color crimson is mentioned when the main character agitates the brothers and they are discussing pursuing legal matters. Because my note is this book the basis / inspiration for the 2010 film The Social Network, which is about the founding of Facebook, supposedly? I have no idea if that's how the founding of Facebook goes. I went on a hike with a guy who said his name was Mark Zuckerberg. He might also have an Elvis impersonator problem. He tried to convince me, so when I was living in Hawaii, he came and he took his shirt off and he tried to convince me we were soulmates because I have innie nipples and he has outie nipples, and he said we're a perfect fit because his nipples fit in my nipples, which we did not pursue, right, testing, but he wanted to convince me of that. And that man was very adorable, very cute and sexy. Okay, he's older than me, okay, I'm not using that in reference to a child. Okay. He's older than me, and he was older than me at the time. Okay. Up next. Next note. Page 170. Joy, the woman who took the main character's virginity, was the main character's woman after his first wife. So my note is, meaning the main character did not have sex with his first wife. In my family / social network, marriage and having sex at least once are synonymous. So from my perspective, the author's take is a bit anomalous, which is a way of saying it's not normal. Typically, wedding night is synonymous with losing one's virginity or at least having sex with the person somebody's married. So this person, the main character, got married, divorced the wife, and then had sex with a different woman named Joy for the first time. Right, his first time having sex. So it's like, that's a little bit different. Yeah. Than kind of anything I've experienced. Okay. I did it. Yeah, we'll put, how are we on time? Nope, no digression. Okay. Day 7, Sunday, 6th August 2023, which is today. I finished the book, so I read pages 176 through 183, which is 8 pages. And my note is, it is over. And I'm gonna, okay, that's it. And then final notes, for like the book. I was 30 years old for the duration of this reading. Let's see, let's do this. Yeah, okay. So I was 30 years old for the duration of the reading. I had some very different key takeaways reading it this time compared to the previous time. My life experience has changed in such a way it was less enjoyable this time through, like the Elon Musk stuff, the Mark Zuckerberg stuff, my relevant life experience that kind of relates to this book. It's all new. It didn't exist the last time or hadn't happened the last time I read this book. So I much enjoyed this more the first time I read this. Next note, cats featured more prominently in the beginning of this book than The Cat Who Talked to Ghosts, 1990, which is the book 1 of 5 of my new editions for the summer 2023 reading this. Next note, I did not rate this book the previous time I read it, once before this. This time I would give it a 4 out of a possible 10. While an easy read, not my taste. It mostly comes down to taste. And then this marked my second time reading the book. So that's it. That's book 2 of 5 of new editions, book 5 of 8 overall for the summer 2023. I put links to that self-defense incident in the video description. That's my initial summer 2023 reading list, the new editions, and then a link to my Lucky Wallaby Courier playlist, which contains the notes videos. Happy summer of reading, day of reading, happy reading whenever you are viewing this. And I'm filming this Sunday, 6th August 2023 in the city of Shoreline, Washington State, United States of America, Planet Earth, the original.